My father was an interesting man. There's lots of things that I remember about him. I told you about the camping. Oh, there's so many stories about the camping. One of the things that really sticks out to me, though, is he liked martial arts movies. He liked action movies. And one of his favorites was Under Siege, Steven Seagal. So much to the point that on his answering machine, he left the message, not that I'm unable to take your call right now, but this: chance favors a prepared mind. Now, for those of you who have watched enough Steven Seagal Under Siege movies, you will recognize the quote. Chance favors the prepared mind. Now, this is laughable considering the fact that most of the time when we went on hikes, we never had water. We never had anything that was prepared. Yet, this was the quote my dad chose to go with. And I realized years later that, my dad was right. And when it most counted, chance did favor the prepared mind. As a kid, maybe junior high, lower 6th grade, 7th grade, we were all at home. Now, the way our house was set up, we had what we called our piano room, which was a little alcove right off of the front door. And we called it the piano room because, the piano was in it. Yeah, you're following. And it's just a small upright. And my mother was on the phone. I don't remember with who. Might have been my grandmother, might have been one of her really good friends. My sister was on the couch in the living room, because that's the first room you walked into in our home, reading, because that's what we did. I was reading too, and I was sitting in my mother's recliner. And I don't know what my mother was saying, because we were very good. We were very respectful kids about tuning things out we weren't supposed to be listening to. And my dad had been watching TV in his recliner. Here's the sofa, there's the recliner, sister here, I'm on the other side. And Dad got up to go to our single bathroom. Now, when your dad goes to the bathroom, you never knock on the door. No. You never question, how long is the man going to be? No, not if you value your place in the family and you still want to be fed. Because Dad is going to take as long as Dad wants. And truthfully, my sister and I were both lost in our books, and my mom was on the phone. It was barely a little blip on the radar. We knew he went to the bathroom, and we knew he would take his sweet time. And it was quite a long time. Enough that we had made significant dents in our book, and my mother had been on the phone for quite a bit. We didn't realize the passage of time, though. Like, we're talking Gilligan's Island's 3-hour tour passage of time. Until my father came out. Now, chance favors a prepared mind. I already told you, my father would go into the bathroom and emerge after his job was complete. So we were prepared to not enter the bathroom for quite a while. What we were not prepared for was the sight that greeted us. I was the first to see, for I was sitting in the recliner that was at an angle and faced where the bathroom comes out. And I heard this odd shuffling type gait. Now, my father always wore cowboy boots when I was at that age. Later, he would switch to tennis shoes, but he always wore boots, jeans, sometimes a flannel like what I'm wearing, and sometimes just a button-down shirt. That day was no different than any others. But he tended to drag his feet, but this was different. This drew attention because it sounded like he was going on a march he did not want to take. And indeed he was. And as he walked into the living room, Lord help me, I did not have words. My sister, perhaps because we have a twin brain of a sort, we're not twins, but we do tend to share similar ideas at the same time, must have sensed something in the quick intake of my breath. And she stopped reading and looked up. Now again, we are well trained to tune things out and not respond. And we just went, oh. My mother, however, being the adult in the house, I was going to say besides my dad, but in this instance being the sole adult in the house, was on the phone and just said, I got to go. And she looked at my father. Now, my dad was a very, rugged man. I've called him a mountain man before, and he rather was. Great snowy beard, mustache to go with it. In fact, at one point when he was playing handball, he had a little girl come up to him and say, Santa, can I tell you what I want for Christmas? Now, my dad always hated that he was mistaken for Santa or teased about it because he was not jolly in that sense. But he was kind and listened to the little girl as his friends later teased him. But you pretty much, if you're thinking of Santa, you have my dad down. He did not have necessarily flowing hair. He kept it cut close because he had been balding. But he did have very, very bushy eyebrows. I call them German eyebrows. I have no idea. I've never been to Germany, and I don't know if German people have bushy eyebrows, but this was what my dad called them. And no, he did not keep anything refined. It just went everywhere. So he went in looking like, well, a very hairy mountain man type Santa Claus. And he came out looking like Mr. Clean. And my mother said, Gary, my God, what have you done? Which was similar to what I was thinking, but with a few colorful words thrown in that we weren't allowed to use in our family. And my dad blushed. Now, my dad was a very olive-skinned, tan man. And it was rare to see him blush. And he blushed. And he said, well, I went to the bathroom. And all of us were like, yeah, you can tell. And he said, well, I got to looking in the mirror. And I wondered what I'd look like without an eyebrow. And all of us just looked at him because we knew what happened next. He said, so I went and I covered it up like this. But it didn't really give me a good image. My dad, the man who learns by visual. So I took out a razor and I just cut it off. Now, upon doing said eyebrow removal, he said, I realized I looked a little odd with just one eyebrow. Imagine, full beard, mustache, one eyebrow. So then I decided to take off the other eyebrow. And he said, but then I just looked really surprised. And all of us are just doing this. So I decided I'd shave off my mustache. Maybe that would even it out, because a mustache kind of looks like an eyebrow. Well, that was something I hadn't thought of before, till my dad pointed it out. So off it went. And he said, but now I had this beard. At first I thought I'd trim it a little, but it didn't help. So I shaved it off too. Yes, we're seeing what happens to a man who believes that chance favors a prepared mind. So then Dad said, well, I just looked, and I know I don't have much hair back there, but it just all looked really weird, so I just shaved everything. So folks, my dad came out with no hair on his head, no eyebrows, no mustache, no beard, no hair on his head. It was winter. Now, grant you, this is Southern California. But my dad also hunts in places where it snows. I remember going out for the first time, and my dad had sworn all of us to tell nobody what had happened. And we rarely went out. And he had said, it's a little cold. Just a bit. And he said, I didn't realize eyebrows help so much. But this is where chance does indeed favor prepared mind, for my father loved hats. He had well over 30 hats, and he used those 30 hats to cover his very, very bald self. Sometimes he wore 2. So perhaps chance does favor the prepared mind, even if that mind doesn't know what it is doing. So let this be a lesson. If you wonder what it is you might look like with something a little different on your face, let it just be something you wonder in your imagination. If you decide to go through with it, please, my friends, make sure that you have a lot of hats.